So I'd like to speak just a little bit more about resolve. Without which breaking out of the habit of the mind to me does not seem like it would be possible. So what was touched on in the morning was the more challenging part of it. In the beginning, where there is simply a resolve to remain. In a way, all the pressure is off because it's not a resolve to do anything, to find anything, to free yourself from anything. It's not about anything. It's simply a resolve to remain. That's all. So simple. It's not searching for a state. It's not attempting to stop the mind. It's simply a resolve to remain. Doing nothing. No matter what is going on. And when there is seriousness about this in the earlier phases, because if this is true, it is a large part of the life until it becomes the life. So times will arise where the mind is agitated, bored, upset about something. And it is just about remaining. Could not be more simple. It's all that's needed. When it is taken to heart, it becomes the orientation, as opposed to an exercise that's done for a half hour a day. When it is the orientation, there begins to be this seeing that all various cyclical, phenomenal events appear and disappear, appear and disappear. Sometimes they appear for a very short period and disappear. Sometimes they appear and linger for quite a period of time and disappear. But that you are that which remains. Not trying to convince yourself by repeating I'm that which remains, just by remaining. It becomes obvious. No matter what the story, no matter what the sensory input is, no matter what is going on emotionally, through periods of deep, profound silence, through periods of commotion, you just remain. The challenge end of it is really only in the beginning, except perhaps at rare times. You begin to see that the mind has a mechanism that says, I don't want to. But it doesn't matter. You just remain. Eventually you begin to discover that what remains, which is what is a guarantee that is discovered, that is what you are when you are not moved by the mind's demands and you just remain. What is discovered is that which remains is not in relationship with that which is arising and disappearing. There's no connecting points. When you begin to become rooted in it, the mind-body can be going through extreme misery. But you have been just remaining, getting used to remaining, getting used to not being the slave of mental demands. And all of a sudden the mind comes up with all this misery, and you realize that you, that which remains, is completely unaffected. There is a discovery that doing nothing is not the challenge but the draw. It is not the struggle, it's the remedy. For what is doing nothing is the self. You have identified to varying degrees yourself around that which is changing and moving only by habit. Simply holding the resolve to remain is all that it takes. I know what is common is when people stop, not with everyone, but with many, they stop and they check the clock and they're like, oh, I sat for 45 minutes, sat for an hour and a half. Remaining, the resolve to remain has no beginning point or end point. It builds upon itself. The more there is the refusal to give up based on periods of mental agitation, the more there becomes a sense of inner strength. The more the inner strength is tasted, the stronger the resolve becomes. And it is not a resolve to taste God, to awaken. It is simply the resolve to remain.